When you consider 50% of Americans will have a sexually transmitted infection in their lifetime, it's wild to think how little we talk about it. So we gave Delaware College students the chance to ask any question they wanted to me, our in-house Sexpert. Let's see how things heated up.
What is the difference between PEP versus PrEP when it comes to HIV?
So PrEP and PEP are sometimes the same medications, but they are used very differently. PrEP, pre-exposure prophylaxis, means that you're taking this medication before you engage in intercourse, before you come in contact with HIV, right? PEP, or post-exposure prophylaxis, is taken kind of like an emergency type situation. So you've been exposed either through intercourse or a needle stick or something like that, and then you need protection post-exposure.
What's an intimate way to ask your partner about their STI, STD history, and if they've recently been tested?
This is an important conversation to have, right? Before you even begin to engage in intercourse or thinking about having sex with a partner, you need to have a conversation around, okay, I think I'm ready. I think we want to, I want to move to the next step. What are we going to do to protect ourselves? When's the last time? Do you want to go get tested with me? All those sorts of things. I would encourage you, because not one size fits all, you know your relationship very well, but make it a part of just routine conversation.
How long can an STI/STD go untreated before affecting your reproductive health?
STIs, and this is a big myth, right? STIs don't just affect your reproductive health. So, I have come in contact with patients who have said, "Oh, I don't need to get tested because I don't plan on having kids." Some STIs will do is actually affect your overall health. I have had patients come into the clinic who had no idea they had syphilis, and they had it for decades at a time, and then all of a sudden later in life they're losing their cognitive function, unable to walk, and those sorts of things, and it's all because they never were tested.
Is it true that some STDs have no symptoms?
It is true. It's true. And that is scary because some STDs don't have any symptoms at all. So you don't know you have it, and then you're like, my elderly patients that are coming in and they've lost brain function, they've lost their vision, their hearing, all those sorts of things, in addition to causing reproductive problems.
Can you cure STDs or STIs yourself?
Get this question a lot. Well, what if I go in the shower? Well, I wash myself off real quick, like we just had sex and I get in the shower, or I douche, or what are those things, right? No. So again, some STIs are from seminal fluid or vaginal fluid, but some are just from skin to skin contact as well, and there's no amount of washing that off.
How do you know if you have an STD?
Yeah, you get tested. That's how you know. Again, there's no STD that is completely symptomatic, meaning like you're gonna have symptoms right away. All of them can be asymptomatic for a period of time. So the only way you're really gonna know is if you routinely get yourself tested. And you should love yourself enough to go get tested, right? It's the same thing as going and getting your blood pressure checked or your blood levels drawn because for your chemistry levels and stuff like that. Little self-love. There's lots of stigma around having an STI. We know that half of all adults will end up with an STI at some point in their lifetime. So if it's so common, why do you think there's all this stigma around it?
Well, I think we should separate sex from being dirty or clean and just an act that humans do. And there's benefits and detriments to doing acts of all kinds.
I think there needs to be more conversations about these kind of things, because I remember when I was in high school, when you're in high school, you're very curious with a lot of things. It should be normalized to, do your checkups and stuff like that. But I think a way in order to fix this is definitely, I think, more conversations about it. I don't think there's enough conversations being talked about it, especially with STIs, HIV, AIDS, and stuff like that.
I think the conversations need to continue past health class. Yeah. I feel like it stays to that moment. You get a grade for it, so you're just there to do it. But I think if we normalize the conversations and have them past that point where we're all like maturing and we're like, ooh, cooties, blah, 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 like it's really important that we continue to have those conversations, even when we're adults. I feel like even a lot of adults, shy away from the topic because it's so taboo. But I mean, let's face it, we all enjoy having sex. So why not just talk about the good and the bad that comes along with it?
It's okay not to know everything about sex and STIs, but that's why it's so important to get tested. Have open communication with your partners and healthcare providers, and use protection when sexually active. Visit stopstis.com for more info.